Welcome into TuddyTalk. This is week 12, and today we have something a little bit different. Okay, uh, I've been at work for the past 2 days. It's been a little hectic. I haven't been able to prepare the turkey, so that's what we're gonna do because I have to cook a turkey in about 5 hours. So we're gonna get started with that. But at the same time, I want to go ahead and talk about our league because there's been a bit of a shakeup, especially after last week. Let's go right into the competition from last week, which was the 100% challenge. I wanted to see who could get 100 on the dot, or at least the very closest. Who was going to hit that? And of course, it had to go to a winning team. This one went to Chris. Congratulations on the week 11 competition win, Chris. You are going to get your $5. Congrats. Next up, we have Overachiever, okay? So I got some sage right here. This is going to go onto the turkey into our butter mixture underneath the turkey skin. It's going to taste pretty good. Overachiever this week, for week 12, that is the team that goes over their projected the most. Whoever can do that will get their $5, and, congratulations to them. Moving on, straight into it. We're going to get into our power rankings. And of course, I got to do it.
Number 12.
Number 12, moving down one spot, is going to be Matt Apple. Now, we're going to start looking forward, okay? Because we all know how Matt Apple's season has been so far. He is now, 0-11? He hasn't been doing very well. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes because, your team sucks. I'm sorry. 0-11. Right now, you're projected to lose by about 20 to Paris, and I don't see that changing too much. So, unfortunately, you have to stay here. Let's take a quick look at your team. How about that? Jaden Daniels has been underperforming. Najee Harris just had his worst game in a couple weeks, which really sucks because I was pining for Najee. You could have given me him, and you didn't. So. That's on you. Instead, I got somebody different, but we'll talk about that later. Rashad White, kind of playing a back role. Michael Pittman's back in there. Ooh. David Njoku has been okay, but he only got 3 points on Thursday. Terry's really good. Jalen Warren, the backup. You should have put him in. That's too bad. Oh well, can't do anything about it now. Number 12 is going to be Matt Apple. Congrats on your placement there. Now moving on. Moving down
Number 11.
2 spots is number 11, Scott. Now, Scott had the opportunity last week to do the best thing that he could have done for his team, and he let the opportunity go to waste. He was going to get the top 5, let's just say a top 5 running back in Joe Mixon, but he couldn't play ball with the big boys, unfortunately. By the big boys, I'm talking about me and Gifford. Now, the conversation started pretty low. He started with, I believe, a 4th round pick for Joe Mixon. Let's take a look at his team real quick, because I want to remember the details correctly. Tank Dell was the big guy, the big player in this whole trade. Now, if you talk to Matt, you know that he does like Tank Dell. But because of the year that he's been having, he absolutely loves Joe Mixon. And you have to give him a little more than what you might be expecting. Because when he knows he's getting attention for a trade, he likes to soak that up. He will bleed you dry, as you guys saw in the trade. I had to offer a 4th and a 1st in order to get Joe Mixon. Who would have thought that would have happened? Crazy. Unfortunately, Scott's offer of a 1st, a 6th, and Tank Dell was not quite enough for Gifford. So yeah, Scott is stuck in a purgatory with, let's see, who are his running backs? Kareem Hunt, who's about to get replaced again. Bucky Irving, he's decent. Justice Hill, the backup on the Ravens. Braylon Allen, who's on bye, Blake Corum, a bunch of backup running backs is what I'm saying. He really needed a backup. And unfortunately, this led to him changing his name to Villain Arc, which is totally understandable. At this point, it's been a rough time for you, and I'm sorry I had to do that to you. I really needed this, and that's just how it goes. I'm sorry, Scott. Moving on, we're going to go to
Number 10.
number 10. Moving up 2 spots is going to be Tommy. Now, let's see. Let's take a look at Tommy's team. He is playing me this week, so I don't give him a great chance, but, you know, that's fine. Really, I moved him up because the other two didn't do too great. Scott and Apple weren't fantastic last week. Let's just call it what it is. And, I mean, Tommy's not much better. I don't think Tommy's going to make the playoffs. I don't think his team's good enough to make the playoffs. So, yeah, that's where we're at. Honestly, there's not too much to say about this team. Zay Flowers is good. Devontae Smith is out now, so that's too bad. He should probably check that before tomorrow. I don't know if he checks it more than once, so we'll see. I do need to set my lineup. We'll figure that out, though. Who does he have to replace Devontae Smith, though? Throw Christian Watson in there. You got Devin Singletary. Rashad Bateman. He could be the move. I do like Rashad Bateman. Well, I did like Rashad Bateman a couple years ago. I guess we'll figure it out. I guess he will figure it out because I'm not gonna tell him who to start. That would be counterintuitive. Yeah, I mean, so as you can tell, I don't really have much to say about Tommy's team. So we're going to move right along, moving up 1 spot.
Number 9.
There it is. Number 9 is going to be Brittany. Now, Brittany had a fantastic week last week. That is why she is moving up. Unfortunately, that fantastic week ended in a loss. Now, scoring over 130 is no small trick in this league. Jesus. Now, this one is Italian parsley, rosemary, and thyme. Little triple blend because we got to get fancy here, and it's organic. This must have cost an arm and a leg. I want to shout out Brittany. Thank you for doing the shopping for this. As I said, I was at work, so all of this is kind of last minute, and I had to ask her to do this for me. But yeah, speaking of Brittany, her team. Baker is fine. Dave Montgomery, Amon-Ra, crazy. Malik Neighbors is back. He has a new quarterback. Let's talk about that real quick. Daniel Jones went from the starting quarterback on the New York Giants, all the way down to their practice safety, and now being cut. He is now cut from that team. Just, man, poor Daniel Jones. It's been a rough year for him. I do hope that Jerry Jones signs him within like the next couple days so that he can start on Thanksgiving, because that would be a hell of a show. Come on, Jerry. I know you have one last thing in you. And if he doesn't, he just needs to retire. Jerry Jones needs to just give up control of that team because it's a mess. And he knows it. We all know it. Dak's going to be out, and CeeDee Lamb's probably regretting signing that contract. And now I'm just rambling, so I'm going to move on. Tucker Kraft, he's good. Brian Robinson, I mean, this whole team performed last week. Unfortunately, it was against me. You would have beaten every other team last week. It just came at a very inopportune time. I wish you the best. I hope that you can make the playoffs still. It is still technically possible, just not super likely anymore. Likely. Yeah, you have to run the table for the next few weeks. Otherwise, you're not making the playoffs. And that's not what I want. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you be happy with your fantasy team. Moving right along. We are going to move to
Number 8.
8. Eric, you're moving down 4 spots. Now, I gave you the benefit of the doubt for so long, and your team consistently underperforms. couldn't show up for the past few weeks. They didn't perform, up to your standards, up to what we all think that your team is. Because I thought that your team was going to be, top two. You've been in the top two in the power rankings for the past few episodes, I'm pretty sure. I am pretty sure because I make it. Eric, it's just falling apart. I don't know what's going on. Is Derrick Henry just not performing that well anymore? Let's check real quick. Let's do a live check-in on Derrick Henry. He's not the problem. He has been underperforming the past 2 weeks, but he's not the problem on this team. Jameis Winston got you 13 points this week. Nick Chubb, though, got his 2 touchdowns. You've been looking for that. So you're at 32 points on the week from Thursday Night Football. You're going up against Brittany. Brittany, like I said, has a fantastic team. She just needs the right opponents. And right now, it's kind of looking like you're the right opponent. You have to win this week if you want to stay in. You're pretty low in the power rankings at this point, actually. So I guess you've already dropped out of favorability in the league. But if you want to get back in, you have to win this week. You have to get something going. Let's see, what's your record right now? 8-3. So you're fine. You will probably make the playoffs, but these past few performances will not and really should not be in the playoffs and will not keep you in contention in the playoffs or throughout the playoffs. So we'll see how you keep on going. Actually, I want to see who you play. Let's see. So this week you're playing Brittany, obviously. Next week, we only have 3 weeks left in the regular season. We should get to that. I think next week I'll take a deeper dive into that. Next week you get Sammy, another 8-3 team right now. So that's going to be a rough one. Week 14, you are going up against... You disappeared on me. Uh-oh. Oh, there you are. I keep seeing my name in your name, and it's messing me up. You get Gifford, who is fighting for his life. He's at 6-5. This could be a rough few weeks for you. And, if you don't make the best of it, you could be on the outside looking in on the playoffs. So hopefully you are able to put something together. That's where we're at with Eric. Moving on to
Number 7.
Number 7, moving down 2 spots. Yes, you got the win, but it was only 100 points. Chris, you're right here at number 7. And this week you have a little bit of an easier matchup. Let's see. Ooh, Amir Abdullah. That's an interesting one. How'd you get Audric? It's crazy. I think he's going to be great. Now Madison's out, so Amir's going to be pretty good. Calvin Ridley, he's been pretty solid, all things considered. No injury designation. He was questionable, now he's good. Looking all right. Back and forth, 29, 27. Yeah. So this week he's projected to do more. Again, going up against Houston. Cooper Kupp is great. I say the same things every week. Cooper Kupp's fantastic. Jackson Smith and Jigba's great. You just got DK Metcalf, which is, cool. I don't know if I would have gone for him over. Tatani has some good players. I do see that you guys traded for your favorite teams, so that I guess that might have played a role into it. But obviously I don't have insight into that. That's just me going off the cuff. DK Metcalf is now on your team. I don't know if you should have gotten rid of CeeDee Lamb. Personally, I do think you should have. I think CeeDee Lamb is on a sinking ship right now. Cooper Rush is garbage. He doesn't know how to play football, apparently. He's given up on that. And Trey Lance, did he ever actually learn how to play football? That's my question for that guy. I don't think CeeDee Lamb is the better part of this trade anymore, which is crazy to say at the beginning of the year. Before Dak got injured, obviously. There's been a lot of bad things happen to CeeDee Lamb, but DK Metcalf has been on a tear, and he can bust loose for an 80-yard touchdown at any moment, so that's a good play. It's just tough having 2 Seattle receivers on your team at the same time. So it's a lot of stock into a less than dynamic offense. Let's call it that. Seahawks have been tough to watch, for me at least. This past week was pretty fun. I got to see them win against the Niners, so we got that going for us, which is nice. Moving on to
Number 6.
number 6. Moving up 2 spots is going to be Paris. Paris did really well. She's now 4-7, which is a lot different than what I saw a few weeks ago. I really thought that she would be able to just cruise her way to the playoffs, really. But she started underperforming, started getting nowhere with her players. And now she's going up against Apple, who, I mean, he's not a juggernaut. So I think that you should be able to beat him this week, Paris. I believe in you going up against Apple. Let's see, Lamar, fantastic. Unfortunately, didn't have a great game last week, as far as I remember. Maybe I'm just saying stuff. Ramondre's pretty good. You're still starting Zach Charbonnet. Oh, well, I guess not still. You have to now. James Cook's on bye. All right. Brock Bowers. What a crazy week last week. That was fun. George Pickens only got you 6.8. That's on me. I really thought that he would have been better, at least a little bit. That snow game, though, I had a lot of fun with that. I hope you guys did too. I can imagine that Paris didn't, because George Pickens didn't do too much. But I mean, he's not your main revenue source on this team, so yeah. Cortland Sutton's been lighting it up. I'm happy for him. Bo Nix looks really, really good. Yeah, he's been consistent. So Paris, you're solid here right now. I think that, I mean, you can make a play for the playoffs, but it's going to be a long road for you. We'll see. Moving on to
Number 5.
Number 5. Nate, you're moving up 2 spots. Another team that kind of faltered in the middle of the year, but is kind of picking it up. Yeah, Nate, where are you at? Swag Serpent. This week, you get a pretty tough matchup against the number 1 team in the league. It's going to be it's going to be an ordeal. Let's call it that. Jalen Hurts, Josh Jacobs, Jahmyr Gibbs, just a juggernaut of a start. But then you get into the wide receivers: Ricky Pearsall, Jerry Jeudy, Romeo Dobbs. Do you have any wide receivers on this team? Even when they're on bye, Devontae Adams is garbage this year. Keon Coleman's your wide receivers are lacking. I have not paid attention, apparently. This is tough. I really hope that you can get something. Jerry Jeudy did get 11.5 on Thursday night, so I mean, decent when you look at what George Pickens did. So there you go. But going up against Tatani, you need something a little better. You need your team to perform this week. Who do the Eagles play? The Rams? They can do it against them. Jahmyr Gibbs should be able to outperform 15 this week against Indy. You have a chance. I'm not going to say it's a good chance, but you have a chance. Right now, you're not projected to win by about 10 points. So good luck to you. You are in the top 6 now in our power rankings, but that can change at any moment. Moving on.
Number 4.
Number 4, moving down 2 spots, is going to be Sammy. Now, I mean, I was giving you a lot of credit last week. Oh my gosh, holy moly! Let's look at week 11 real quick. So you did end up losing against Tatani. Now Tatani had barely over 100 points, and you squandered your opportunity. That there's not much else to say there. I do believe that you had a golden chance there. It was a golden goose, and you ended up frying that goose. You did not capitalize, and it's unfortunate. Really, we all wanted to see you win against Tatani, and it didn't come true. 95-103. You got to do better than that, especially when you're facing an opponent like Tatani. We want to see you just... I want to see you just overthrow him, really. I thought that you had a chance, Could have been number 1 in the power rankings. You could have gotten there. But it didn't happen. This week, you have, like I said, a hungry Matt Gifford. He needs a win. He needs to be able to move on because it's been rough for that guy. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Yeah, I think that you are going to beat Matt Gifford. Well, I should save that for the predictions because I don't know what I wrote down. So we'll figure it out. But let's look at your team real quick. You're chasing that win. Jamar Chase, I should say, been crazy. However, he is on bye. Amari Cooper's on bye. Josh Allen is on bye. So this is going to be a tough week for you. You got Jared Goff to replace him. Waddle. Evans is back, so that's nice. They're going up against the Jets. He could be a decoy. We don't know yet. Well, yeah, so they're... But even when he's healthy, he has the widest range of any wide receiver, I think. So that's crazy. Tyron's been fantastic. J.K. Dobbins is really good every other week. Yeah, going up against Matt Gifford. We'll see how you fare this week. Moving on.
Number 3.
Number 3, we have put Gifford. Speaking of, I mean, he just got rid of his best player. Or one of his best players. I don't know if that was the best move for him. I don't know if he plans on... I mean, he's stacking first rounders for next year. That's what he told me. I don't know if that's the best move at this point. Because he was poised to make the championship. I don't know if he's going to do it anymore. I really don't. That's why I put him at 3. I do think that with Joe Mixon, he could have been, top 1, top 2 in the power rankings. But, it got to him. I gave him that first rounder, and he said, okay. And that was that. I was not expecting to make a trade that night. I didn't go into hanging out with them to make any trades. There was no shady deals. I just heard Scott and Gifford talking about it, and I heard first rounder for Joe Mixon, and I saw a little hole on my team, and so I took the chance. I took the opportunity, and we'll see how that plays out, because this could have been a huge shot in the foot, especially with me having Nico already. I don't know. I've never been a fan of keeping two of the position players on a single team, but it's worked out for Tatani so far, so we'll see. I got sidetracked. I was talking about my team. Gifford, you are here. You're still solid. I do still think that you can make the playoffs, even at 6-5. I think you can hold off your spot. DeAndre Swift is still fantastic. Christian McCaffrey, he needs to find his footing, and now Brock Purdy might be out, so it's not what you wanted to see from Christian McCaffrey this year. I was hoping that he would come back and light it up like previous years, but he just hasn't really performed, and that's what we have here. Moving on from him, at least, Marvin Harrison, probably going to be your keeper at this point. Jawan Jennings, he could be the number 1 wide receiver on that team. But, I didn't even think about it. They're on the same team with Christian McCaffrey, so we'll see how that goes. Mark Andrews, he was hot for a little bit. I don't know what he did. 3 points last week. Not great. Hopefully he can do better. He's going against the Chargers, who's been pretty nice. Herbert has really returned to form. I've liked what I've seen there. Yeah. That's it. I think your team is solid. I think you're going to make the playoffs, but I do not think that you are going to make the championship anymore because you got rid of a huge piece, and let's see if it plays off next year. If it pays off next year, because you are going in with 2 first-round picks, an extra 4th rounder. Like, you have a great chance to build a good team next year. It's just, will it have been worth it? We'll see. Moving on to
Number 2.
Number 2, Tatani, I think we all know where this is going. Tatani, you are number 2 now. You have moved down 1 spot. Bo Nix has been incredible. I've got to say it. Really good to see a rookie coming into his own, especially when he was taken, as the 6th quarterback? I think that really speaks a lot about his character. I think that he has proven a lot of people wrong, and I hope he continues to do that, because it's always fun to see. Unfortunately, it's on your team, and you are my biggest competition right now for that number 1 seed and the championship spot. Sorry, Eric. I don't think that you're going to win out. And Tatani has a chance to. Let's see. Tyrone Tracy. What a surprise. Now like I mentioned earlier, Daniel Jones is no longer there. We have to see what Tommy DeVito is able to conjure up there. Let's see if they continue to use Tyrone Tracy as much as they have. We'll see. This coming is it? No, they played Sunday before Thursday. Excuse me. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, guys. I should say something about that. Almost Thanksgiving. We are having Friendsgiving in a couple hours. I hope to see as many of you there as we can. I know not everybody can make it. They either have other plans or other family in town, so that's okay. Or they just can't make it over the pass. And that's fine too, I guess. We have come to accept it. Let's move on to the actual trade. CeeDee Lamb or DK Metcalf. I said my thoughts earlier. I think that DK is the better player this year, but we will see where they go next year. Are you going to keep CeeDee or are you going to keep AJ Brown? Either way, one of them is ending up in the pool, and could go to Gifford. We'll see. Alvin Kamara is on bye this week. Darnell Mooney is on bye, so those are 2 big hits to you. Cedric Tillman already played 1 point, so you didn't really lose much there. Who'd you throw in? Josh Downs. He's been nice. Was it him that completely killed me against Sammy? I think it was week 8 against Houston. Alright, anyway, moving on. We all know it. After a performance like that, Number one has to go to me. Now, I think it's like last time I was number 1. I really don't think, kosher salt going into the butter mixture. I don't think that it's going to be a long-lived number 1, freshly cracked brown pepper going into the butter mixture. This is all going to go underneath the turkey skin, by the way. You really got to get it in there, massage it in so that the turkey is nice and flavorful and crisp. And a lot of lard. It's going to, fats. And that is going, I'll throw some more of this. It's going to crisp up the skin. It's going to make the flavors deeper. I am going to stab it a little bit, throw a little bit of turkey stock in there, see how that makes it all taste. I'm excited to do that. Anyway, I don't think it's going to be at number 1 for too long, so I got to enjoy it while it's here. Let's talk about the trade, I guess. So the biggest part of my team that was lacking was running back. I have Breece Hall, I have Tony Pollard, but they're not on the same level as Kamara and Saquon, and I'm not saying that I am there now, but I'm a lot closer than I was last week. So I like where I'm at. I think that my team can continue to roll if everybody stays healthy, because that has been the crux of my team this year. I do need to change my name, because now I won, so I've got to change that. Matt Stafford came in clutch last week. That was crazy. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I went up to 954, 955, 956. Just thinking, do I either want Aaron Rodgers from Chris, or do I want to go with Matt Stafford on the waiver wire, just sitting there? He was projected not to do great this week. Sleeper had him as a QB2, a start in 2 quarterback leagues, but a cautious one at that. And then I saw the comments. I saw the blind optimism in the comments of Matthew Stafford's little blurb. People saying, oh, you're going to come back here after he drops 4 touchdowns, and I was cautious, but at the end of the day, I had to go with him because I do have his guy Puka Nacua. And that was the right decision, because I ended up breaking the sleeper league record. So congratulations to me, I guess, on that one. Thanks for that, guys. Thank you. Now this week I have T. Higgins on bye, but that's not too much because I miss him every week. Doesn't really matter at this point. Also Breece Hall, but that one does hurt a little bit. Breece has really come into his own. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is even going to be the starter anymore, so that's man, they're a mess, and it's been fun to watch for a non-Jets fan. Trey McBride is back after his bye, but am I going to play him over Jonnu? I really don't know. I've got a lot of tinkering to do before tomorrow's games, and this isn't the final lineup, so there's not much else to say. Nico and Puka are back. That's great. T. Higgins is back from his injury. Fantastic. Rico Dowdle has just plummeted, unfortunately, with that team. Maybe if they get a new quarterback, I will be able to figure something out there. However, it's not looking great right now. That's where we're at with power rankings, and I want to thank you guys for listening real quick, because this has not been an easy episode to record. I wanted to do it at work, but work was just it was work. It was a lot this week. We got slammed. We had some deceased patient, and we had a lot of falls this week. Had to help a lot of people off the floor, but that's all to say. We were busy. I didn't get to do the podcast, unfortunately, but now I get to do it with 4 hours left until I have to get over and clean the house and get ready for people to come over. I can't wait to see everybody at Friendsgiving. Let's move on to our predictions. I've got a little more yapping to do, okay? Almost done. Moving to me versus Tommy. I mean, that's an easy one. I just wrote down me. I don't have anything to say. I do think that my team is superior in almost every way. And I believe in them. I believe that we can keep on rolling into the playoffs. We can bring this momentum and just take down the 9-2 Tani. We are going to get that number 1 seed. Matt Apple versus Paris. I went ahead and went against the grain here. I did write down Apple. This was before Thursday night gave him only 13 points from 3 players. I can't change it now because I wrote it down, and you know what they say, if you write down your prediction, you can't change it now. That's cheating. So that's where I'm at now. Apple, you're going to win this one by sheer will. Moving to Brittany versus Eric. I wrote down Brittany. I do think that Brittany's team has been better. It's been performing better than Eric's team. I do think that they have a chance. I don't think that Eric is that juggernaut that I really thought he was earlier in the season. And Brittany's team is hot right now. I do think that she's going to win. On to, let's see, Sammy versus Gifford. I kind of said something earlier, but overall, I am going with Sammy here. I am going to say, I mean, I didn't look into it too much. Now you have Schumacher? Is that Luke? Is that his name? Yeah, Luke. Okay, Luke Schumacher. He got 8 points last week. Hopefully he can keep on going, I guess. Let's see, who's on bye for you? Oh, Jake Ferguson's just out. That's too bad. He hasn't been fantastic anyway, so it's not a huge loss. Hopefully Jordan Brooks is able to come in and start taking, well, no, because you have Chuba. It doesn't matter. It doesn't all matter. All of this to say, I'm still taking Sammy. I hope that you are able to pull out a win. Yeah, I think your team's better than they performed last week. That's all I have to say there. Moving to Nate versus Tat. Here, I took the easy way. I think Tatani's going to win. Even before Thursday Night Football, I didn't think that Nate was going to win this. And now it's even more solidified. I really don't think that Nate has a great chance to pull this one out. Finally, moving to Chris versus Scott. I want to hype it up a little bit. They are projected within 8 points. It's not a great look, but yeah, they're Amir Abdullah. The better team is Chris, but I don't think it's by as much as it could be. Lad McConkey's been coming alive. Wait. Oh, never mind. Excuse me. He is there, but you don't have Justin Herbert. I thought you did for a second. Yeah. I think Chris is going to win this one. So, that's all I have to say. I thank you for coming with me to prepare everything for this turkey. I'm going to go get into the dirty of it and break that spine and stuff the turkey, I guess. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Friendsgiving. Happy holidays. Happy Christmas. Happy everything, man. Good luck to everybody. Thanks for joining. I will see you next week. Goodbye.